What's Gucci, everybody? I hope you're having a great day, and also happy Easter. It's March 31st here in Blacksburg. And today I want to talk about hash tables, or hashing as it's called. Hash tables are a very great data structure in that they allow big O of n of constant time for retrieving and storing values. And the way a hash table works is that a hash table has a key and a value pair, kind of like if you know what a map or some kinds of sets do as well. And what this does is that, let's imagine we have a huge array of elements, such as array position 0 here, array position 1 here, and then dot dot dot, all the way to n minus 1, where n is the size. And what I want to do in this hash table is that I want to take my key and I want to perform a calculation with this key, and based on this calculation I want to store it somewhere in my array. So here, 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 or here, depending on its calculation. Now you could do this calculation many ways. This calculation is known as calculating a hash code, or a way to figure out where you should store your value. This calculation, it needs to be thought over very well, because this is how you retrieve and store your values. So if I put in if I'm searching for something and I put in the same key, it will perform the same calculation as when I put it into the array, and I'll be able to retrieve it in constant time after I perform that calculation. Now, you also want to make this calculation big O of constant time as well, because it does no good for your calculation to be longer than that, because then it would ruin the efficiency of constant time of your hash table. Now, there are many ways to do this hash coding. One thing you may notice is that in Java, objects automatically have a hash code function, which can run by doing a multitude of things and works in ways you don't expect depending on what objects are thrown in. But there are certain things you can do based on the keys. For instance, let's say if you have a string as your key value. Let me get rid of that K and make it nicer. You can, for instance, make the key value something about the array, doing something with the array, or add up the char values and then modulus it by the array so that you don't get anything different. So let's say I have a string of joke, because I'm a jokester, and what I could do is I could take the char at 1 and I could times it by a prime number, because prime numbers are good to use in these situations, because times it by 31, that's a pretty big prime. It's not a usual prime number. And I could keep on doing this for char at 2 and char at 3 and char at 4, and I could times it by another prime number. I believe 17 would be a prime number. And what that would do is then, after all these calculations, I could modulus it by the array length, so I know that I will get a value within the array. Now, there are a few things to say about this. Is it possible that different strings will generate the same integer value for what I just entered? Yes, that's completely true. And there are other ways to deal with that in hashing too. There's actually a lot of theory behind hashing on how to make it most efficient depending on what you're doing. But in hashing, you want to somehow have a calculation on your key value to store it in the array that is simple, but yet cannot be duplicated easily by different values. And there are certain ways to do that I will try to go over. This is the first part of the tutorial series, so I will end it here, and I hope you guys have a great day.